When it comes to getting faster in the freestyle stroke, or any stroke for that matter, there's two main things that you can do. Number one is reduce drag. Number two is to increase propulsion. In this video, I want to share with you the two most common things that I see swimmers that are creating the most drag, and give you a few tips and drills that you can use to work on reducing that drag. Two things that I see in the freestyle stroke that's creating drag is when a swimmer comes to me and they're dragging their legs on the bottom of the pool, or if they're splitting their legs when they're kick. A lot of times a swimmer will come to me and tell me I need to work on my kick. In reality, they need to work on their body balance and alignment, their position and rotation in the water. So when I see a swimmer who's generally over a 2-minute per 100 pace, I know they are not ready to work on propulsion, and they need to work on reducing that drag, trying to get their legs on top of the water. When you swim, you want to swim and you should feel that feeling that you're swimming downhill. You want the weight of your body on your forehead, on your sternum. You want to press the weight of your body on your sternum to try to bring your legs up. But more importantly, you want to make sure you're kicking from the proper muscle groups, which include your hip flexors and quads, and having flexible ankles. So that's the most common way to reduce drag, is number one, making sure the swimmer is kicking from the quads and hip flexors, and making sure they have flexible ankles. Some skills and drills that they'll try to implement if they have access to deep water is called vertical kicking, where they're just swimming with their hands above water. Maybe not yet, maybe they're swimming and they're going to have to tread water and eventually try to raise their hands above water, but they're just vertical kicking. While they're vertical kicking, they're trying to keep that ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles in alignment, and they're just kicking freestyle. If their hips are behind them, if they're leaning back too much, that's not the idea of where we're going with this vertical kicking. We're trying to get them to use their quads and hip flexors, and vertical kicking also helps with those flexible ankles. The second thing I'll have a swimmer do is wear a pair of swim fins. There's different styles, some are long, some are short, but when you wear swim fins, it forces that toe in a slightly pointed but relaxed position, and you're able to use more quads and hip flexors. A lot of times a swimmer's toe will be flexed and they're kicking from the knee down, and they're not kicking from the quad and hip flexors because that foot is flexed. A lot of that is due to inflexible ankles. So vertical kicking and using swim fins will help with body alignment and help using the proper muscles in their kick. Again, we're not trying to develop a kick that they're going to use for propulsion. We're just trying to develop the proper use of their legs for body balance and body alignment, keeping the ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles in alignment on the surface of the water, where their upper body is in a more down position and their lower body's on top of the water. The second thing that can cause drag is also related to the legs. When a swimmer doesn't quite have the balance when they're breathing, they do what's called a split kick. So as they're rotating to breathe, their legs go out to the side. When their legs are going out to the side, they're also flexing their feet, and they're doing that because they're trying to gain some balance, because they don't have that balance yet when they're turning to the side to breathe, so they're splitting their legs to find that balance, and that creates drag. And usually when a swimmer has that split kick, their legs are usually a little bit lower on the surface of the water, and that lower legs from the split kick is also creating that drag, not just having their legs splayed out in front of them. So in that case, I will have the swimmer, again, still do some vertical kicking with fins, and then I'll have them do a few stroke drills with the fins where they're just working on the body alignment and the body balance. When you swim, you're either on your right hip or your left hip. The easiest way to think about hip rotation is when your right hand enters, you rotate on your right hip. When your left hand enters, you rotate on your left hip. So when you breathe, I'm going to breathe to the left, I'm going to rotate on my right hip, I'm going to turn my head to the side to breathe. I'm not really turning my head to the side to breathe, I'm rotating on my hip. And here's the key to that balance point. When you rotate, you want to keep this arm extended slightly, just an extra second or two, so you can catch that inhale, and then when you turn your head down, you begin your pull. So you're stroking. My next breath, I'm going to breathe to the right. I'm going to slightly keep my left arm extended. That's the balance point. Instead of splaying my legs, I'm going to extend my arm, keep it out in front of me as I catch that inhale, and then I turn my head down and I start to exhale before my next inhale. And the only time there's ever a pause in your stroke, more so with a beginner who's learning breathing, body balance, rotation, and kick, is I'm going to have them actually extend and lengthen a little bit out in front of them to try to gain that breath and that balance point. At no time do you want to splay your legs when you're breathing. That's going to create drag. So a few drills, I'll have them do kick on the side drill, where they're just with fins, where their arms out in front of them, again in alignment with their hip, their arms not over here, their arms not over here. It's just really in a good alignment, and they'll just be doing a flutter kick on their side while they're looking down. That'll help them with body alignment. That'll help them when they breathe. That arm's extended already. So what they're trying to prevent is they're trying to prevent themselves from pushing down when they're trying to breathe. When you move your head, that head position is going to affect the drag of your lower body. So besides working on the kicking from the right muscles, you want to make sure you're working on that head position when you breathe. If you lift your head to breathe, your legs are going to sink. If you lift your neck to the side and lift your head to breathe, your legs are going to sink. You can, a lot of times in open water, as you're sighting, it's important not to totally lift your body up to sight because your legs will sink, and you just want to lift your eyes up when you're sighting. I talk all about sighting in a different video. So today I just really wanted to summarize how to prevent drag. The way to prevent drag is working on body alignment, working on using the proper muscle groups, quads, hip flexors, flexible ankles, vertical kicking, wearing fins, doing that kick on the side drill are 3 ways that you can help reduce drag in the water.